let's start the class. We'll begin the lesson. So your homework was to think of 2 examples of things that impact supply and demand with 2 each. So who'd like to share first?
From the war, Russia versus Ukraine.
Can you explain how that would be?
It impacts oil supply and demand because 30% of America's oil comes from Russia.
Very good. Anybody else?
COVID also affects like supply and demand, since now people are wanting more like more of those like COVID tests and stuff, and then like increasing in price. Because
Also a good example.
More people want masks because it's COVID time, so the demand is higher.
Very good.
I don't know, man. Roblox shutting down. A lot of people demanded it to come back.
And how did that demand affect the price or?
The Roblox lost like billions of dollars.
It's also a good example. What examples do you have?
Of supply and demand?
Things that impacts supply and demand.
Well, maybe a virus called COVID-19 that goes around, forces businesses to shut down, and it causes supply shortages.
But yes, exactly right. All right, let's move on. Macroeconomics, that's what we'll be beginning to study today. It's the part of economics concerned with large scale or general economic factors, such as interest rates and national productivity. So basically, it's all about not small interactions, but larger interactions, like with the entire world. Let me just, there we go. So what we learned in the past was mostly microeconomics, about the behavior of individuals and firms in making decisions regarding the allocation of scarce resources and the interactions among these individuals and firms. Firms are basically companies or the producers. Individuals can be consumers or producers. So microeconomics, like the name implies, it's interactions inside of a small community. Macroeconomics can be large communities or even the world in general. So what do you think of when you hear the word unemployment?
Jobless.
Yep.
No jobs.
Anybody else? It's all very good.
Community failing.
You could say that. So you probably think of this guy, this poor chap, looking for a job. So unemployment has very specific categorizations. So number 1, you must be looking for a job to be considered unemployed. Next, you must be older than 16 years old or older. And if you're retired, you don't count. So the BLS is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So they contact over 60,000 households a month to determine the amount of unemployed people. So it's not really that accurate because it's only a sample of a giant amount of a giant group of people, but it's mostly correct. So there are 2 types of unemployment. Can you guys guess what they are?
Retired.
If you're retired, you're not employed. You're counted as not unemployed. So you're not employed, but you're not unemployed either. You're just retired. It's a different category. Think about the people who are retired for a short amount of time and retired for a long amount of time. What's the difference?
One category is for a short amount of time, the other is for a long amount of time.
And why would they be short and long?
Because one person has less, one person has less time to work and the other has more time to work.
That's a good, you're on the right track. Could you expand a little further? Why would they not have time?
Because they both retire at the same time.
It's about people who are not retired. Think skills.
One person has more skills while the other has less skills.
Exactly. So there's one called frictional unemployment. Friction is when two things sliding against each other makes friction. So in frictional unemployment, you have to be currently searching for a job and have basically a short unemployment time. So the other one, structural unemployment, is let me just fix something. Is a lack of skills, searching but you're not qualified, or you're trying not to search. And it's affected by shifts in society. Can anybody guess what shifts in society means?
Changes in how society works.
Exactly, actually. It's like technology. It changes how society works. Say there's a guy who is a truck driver and there are trucks who drive themselves. So do you think they would have the skills needed for them to get hired? No, because there's no jobs that require them to drive because the trucks already drive themselves. So they have to get new jobs, like an engineer or like a mechanic. So basically, education plays a big role in this as well. Both add to the natural rate of unemployment. So is it good or bad for an unemployment rate to be at 0%? That's the amount of people unemployed.
Maybe I'd say I don't know, because inflation might happen. Usually.
So it's not good because people searching for workers for new jobs. New jobs are created every day. So say you're the owner of a business and the unemployment is at 0%. There's no people looking for jobs. And you just started your new diner, like restaurant, and you need chefs, workers, dishwashers, servers, and cleaners. Do you think anybody would take your job? No.
Pay them a lot.
If you pay them a lot, yeah, they might leave their job and come to yours. But that's going to be very hard because you're going to have to pay a lot more. So what would happen if the unemployment rate was at 0? Can anybody else give me examples?
Some businesses would be very big.
And how would that affect the economy?
Then it's a monopoly, so a company could charge high prices.
That's exactly the word I was looking for. Good job. So they would have a big monopoly. Oops. They'd have a big monopoly and they would be able to charge big prices, which actually would start a new company of that business, and they would charge less, which means that the unemployment rate would go back up. So it's self-correcting.
In a book I read, the Standard Oil Company in America, it was a monopoly, and they had to split it up into about 12 companies, and
Mhm.
also Microsoft was trying to make a monopoly of itself, but the court found out.
Yeah, so what did they do? They made another company.
They split Microsoft up into several groups, and also the Standard Oil Company.
Exactly. So it would make a lot more jobs. So the unemployment rate will never be a zero for very long. It's interesting, right? So recessions. You may experience 5 to 7 recessions during your entire life. Technically, COVID has made a recession that we are currently living through. Can anybody tell me what is a recession?
A time of unemployment? I don't know.
Well, it has unemployment in that time. Good try.
Little jobs and companies failing.
Yeah, that happens, but that's not all. Think bigger.
The economy collapse?
Yeah, basically. So what happens during a recession? Divorce, unemployment, and general unhappiness. People are not happy during that period. Prices are very low. Unemployment is very high. So that combination makes a recession. But recessions also give opportunities. You could start a business and single-handedly turn around the recession. Well, it's happened before. It probably won't happen during COVID right now. But can anybody think of a reason why it could single-handedly turn around the recession?
A new product?
A new product?
Yeah, like selling at a low price or something. Like
Yeah.
new technology.
And then how would that impact it? How would that single-handedly turn around the recession?
Since like there's unemployment, like other unhappy people, you find like a new technology that might make other people happy, and like more people will work there.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Because there's not many companies to rally against and to beat, so you could just start a company and it might become successful easily.
Yeah, good example. Good idea. So an example would be, let's say you've been fired from Microsoft in a recession because you're not a good worker, and you start a cupcake business. So people like your cupcakes, you have a good passion for baking, and well, you got a loan from the bank for $40,000 to make it, right? After that, people say, hey, we should start a cupcake business too. And so they get loans from the bank, like $50,000 loans to start a cupcake business. And then more people do that, and then they get money from the bank and they start to make society move again. Until the banks give out 2 big loans, and then it drops back into a recession. So it single-handedly turns around the recession, but it also drops it right back into it, which is a little funny. But that's how the business cycle goes. It just goes like, keeps on going up and up. Let's review this before. So what are the 3 things that categorize unemployment?
Retirement,
Mhm.
age above 16, and looking for a job, I think.
We have that, and what is the BLS?
Bureau of Labor something.
Statistics.
Status or something.
Statistics, yes. So it's basically the statistics of labor, and it's a bureau that handles it. So what are the two types of unemployment? Alex?
So if they get forced out of their job,
There are two types of unemployment. It's about people who are skilled and people who are not skilled.
so the not skilled people will be unemployed because they're not skilled enough to do the work
Yep. And what's the other type?
of an unemployment.
Yes.
So if they get kicked out of the job because of their actions.
Yeah. There's frictional unemployment, which is people searching for a job, and they are unemployed for a relatively short time. And structural unemployment, which is a lack of skills, people searching but not qualified or not even searching, and they are affected by shifts in society. And so both of them add to the natural rate of unemployment. By the way, the healthy rate of unemployment is 15%. Also, a little extra, can anybody give me examples of frictional unemployment and structural unemployment, or people that would be in that category?
Robots driving taxis.
So how
Oh,
would
no.
wait, think
sorry,
of a
my bad.
scenario of a single person.
Oh, my bad. What was it? Frictional? I forgot.
Frictional, or
Alright.
you can do either.
What's this? Structural. You don't have any skill. Like, say, you want to get into
Structural or okay. So what would be an example? Let's say Bob. He's in structural unemployment. What's he like?
He doesn't have any skills. He's not
So
qualified.
what does he do?
Try to find a job that he's good at.
And can you find any?
I mean, maybe no.
Well,
They just try
I mean, there's
learn.
McDonald's. You don't need to have skills to say, would you like fries with your burger? But you do need to be able to talk to people, and
memorize.
Yeah, and memorize. So how long has he been unemployed for then, if he's structural? Is he employed for a long time, or has he been unemployed for a short time, or has he been unemployed for a long time?
I don't.
It's if he's structural, then he's been up for a long time because he can't find any jobs.
Yeah.
Can anybody give me examples of frictional unemployment? A person?
Someone who has been working for a long time and has a short unemployment period.
Mhm. So does he have any skills?
He has skills.
Like what?
Has like skills from his previous job.
Uh-huh.
Like
So
if his
Mhm.
previous job was fixing bicycles, he has a skill for fixing bicycles.
yeah. So what if bicycles now fix themselves? What type of unemployment would he become?
He would become structural unemployment.
Yeah, exactly. So let's continue. So why shouldn't the unemployment rate be at 0%?
Let's say like if someone were to open a new business and like they would have nobody to hire since everybody's all employed.
Exactly. And so what would happen if the unemployment rate was at 0?
Like then like sometimes people will hire too many people and the workspaces will be overcrowded, or like the interview stuff will be like too many people are lining up for interview and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You added some more details as well. So next, recessions. What happens during a recession?
So there's like the economy just like taking a hit because of some kind of event.
Mhm. Putting COVID aside, what else could make an event be that event?
A war.
Exactly. So what happens during a recession?
Like people lose their jobs and like stuff becomes cheaper, I think.
Uh-huh. So the answer is divorce, unemployment, and general unhappiness. People are generally unhappy. Recession also gives opportunities. So what is an example of a business that single-handedly turns around a recession? Could you give me an example? Just don't use the cupcake shop.
Oh, as something like uh computers.
How would that turn around a recession?
Because like a lot of people are using it and it's giving jobs.
Yeah. So it's giving people jobs. So that is an example of a business that turns around a recession, but doesn't place it right back into one, like the cupcake example. Can anybody sum up the cupcake example? It's okay if you don't, I can sum it up for you again.
Okay.
Well, Tim, could you do it?
It starts with someone selling cupcakes and getting a loan from the bank, and then everyone else started to get a loan to create their own cupcake shop, and then the bank gives out too much loans, and then a recession starts again.
Good job. So that's how the business cycle works. And so things like computers, which everybody is going to use, which is like important. Everybody uses it nowadays. People did not know what the word computer was 100 years ago. Well, I think they did. But that only happens once in a while. So both of them are very good examples. So can you guys think of examples of recessions, things that may impact recessions or cause them.
A stock market crash.
Uh-huh. And now I can call on somebody else.
Something, a
Oh.
big company going down.
Yeah. You can pick the next person.
Or maybe like a bank becoming bankrupt or something.
Like a big bank becoming bankrupt. That happened before. It's called the Great Depression. You can call on somebody else.
Yeah.
Anything that could make a recession happen.
Like a government crisis.
Exactly.
Maybe maybe the government like stops selling like things people need.
Yeah, that is also a reason. How about a shift in society? I'll start off and then I'll choose somebody to say shift in society. We'll do the same thing. So a shift in society could be the invention of the wheel, which basically no longer needed heavy pulling, only light pulling. So people who had very, very strong horses had to look somewhere else. Next,
Yeah.
could you give an example of a shift in society?
If people disagreed that money was worth something.
Like how?
Like they realized that money was just paper.
I mean, it is fancy paper, and many people agree to it, but yes.
Yeah. So a shift in society, maybe the government starts to print money because they're running out of it, and inflation.
Well, how would inflation impact skills becoming useless?
Maybe the invention of cars.
Yeah, that could be yours.
Then we don't need horsemen to
Exactly.
drag to drive to like ride the horses and like control them.
Yep, exactly. So when the car was invented, people who drove horse wagons had to look somewhere else for a job. You can now call on somebody else.
Maybe like cranes being invented.
Crayons? How would that?
Cranes.
What? Oh, trains.
No, cranes.
Could you type that in the chat?
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Cranes, like the thing that lifts heavy
Yeah.
things in the air.
Oh, cranes, yes. And how would that impact jobs?
Like those people who, or those animals or people who may have used to do those could be like unemployed or something.
Yeah. Cranes were actually invented in the medieval times. So they used to use horses and big trees to do that stuff.
Those, I forgot what they're called. The things that cashier use.
Cash registers?
Yeah, those.
Yeah,
It
those.
just escaped me. It would like make it so you can hire like anyone to be a cashier.
Exactly. Hello. Could you give us an example?
Like
Of a shift in
paper,
society. What'd you say?
like paper, like
Paper.
before you had to like carve it on stone and stuff. Now you can just write it on paper.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Paper, and then everyone can like write.
So
Because,
who would
like,
be the people who had to look for new jobs?
those people who used to like carve on stone.
Yeah.
Stone carvers.
Well, I guess they could just go to write on paper, which would be easier. But yeah, they would still have to leave their job. Okay, so they have a new mode in Gimkit.
Wow.
So over here it
I
says,
want to try it.
sure. It's a game of tag. Players need energy, which they will gain by answering questions correctly. There's no homework today because tomorrow we will be doing something pretty important.
For me, it says question, correct answer, incorrect answer 1, incorrect answer 2,
Oh,
incorrect.
it's correct answer. Don't worry. That one's a freebie. Wait, when you're answering questions, you can get tagged as well. Oh, when you tag people, you get their energy.
Don't move around all the time. Only run when you're
Yeah, it says it in a corner. The top left corner.
Also, you probably don't want to share screen.
Tim and Eric tagged me.
Why does it say question?
Eric and Tim are right here. Oh, I run so fast now.
You just got tagged.
I
You
just got
ran
tagged.
straight into me. I didn't even move.
Alan, I just ran out of energy.
You ran straight into me.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry, bro.
When you get tagged, what?
God, no. Oh. Where are they? Damn it.